Well, I don't think it's going to be that. I don't think it's going to be a very long review. I don't think it's going to be a very long review. Reviewing WWE NXT Halloween Havoc 2024 from the sweetest place on earth, Hershey, Pennsylvania, from the Giant Center. Such a funny name. I forgot to check WrestleTix. You know, they were advertising. When I say they, WWE, they were advertising that there were tickets on sale for their show that they're doing in a couple of weeks at the ECW arena, right? And I thought that show was sold out. So what are they doing? Is it sold out, or are they like stretching? Are they stretching more tickets? Do they have more room? Did they open up more seats, or are they just doing plain old good old fashioned false advertising? I don't know. Because I was kind of surprised. I was like, wait, didn't this sell out? I mean, it's the ECW arena. I mean, it's not the United Center, you know? Anyway, back to the Giant Center in Hershey, Pennsylvania. 5,011 tickets distributed for the show, for Halloween Havoc, out of a capacity of 5,400, a setup, I should say, of 5,466 places. That's what it was set up for. What's the capacity of that? I'd say, yeah, it's a 10,000 seater, 10,500 seats. It filled half of it, depending on what was left, you know, with the stage and all that stuff, you know. I mean, you know, it's good. It's still good. Don't get me wrong. It's a nice little gate. Can't exactly call it in good faith. Can't exactly call it a sellout though. But yeah, this NXT Halloween Havoc 2024. I didn't like it. I didn't think it was. And what's going on recently with, you know, these wrestling shows I've been watching have all been under delivering. You know, getting into, you know, I sat around and watched last weekend, right? I had the Maple Leaf Pro event, the 2 nights, you know. I thought night 2 was better. Night 1 was kind of a drag. And then, you know, and even there, night 2 wasn't a rousing success, but it was better. It was better. It wasn't anything that I'm like, oh, wow, this is great. Royal Quest 4 from New Japan. I thought that was a skippable show, like nothing happening, just like an empty show. And I'm right back to where we were with this, to that kind of feeling with this show here, where it's just like stuff happening and some matches which are just outright bad, and I'm looking at the scores on Cage Match, and I'm like, I'm continuing to have this disconnect between WWE fans, particularly NXT, and my own sensibilities, where, you know, I'm looking at this and I'm like, I'm looking at some of these results and I'm like, really? Did we watch the same match here? Did we actually watch the same match? Might as well start with the top like we like to do, right? Trick Williams successfully retained his NXT championship against Ethan Page. I believe this is the 7th million match between these two. Like, I feel like it's the 7th match, 7 millionth match between these two, or at least it feels like it. And it's just as mid, it's just as average as their other get-togethers. You know, because Trick Williams is still green and he's put in an unjust spot, and I think he, you know, him being the face of a brand here and carrying main events, he's not ready for it. And, you know, we get more and more proof every time. And Ethan Page is just, he's Ethan Page. He's an average pro wrestler That has always been his thing. He's just average and normal and unexciting, and that's just who he is. That's just who Ethan Page is. So this match is like, look, it's a falls count anywhere match, right? And to make sure that it's falls count anywhere, they go and they walk and brawl into the audience, and they share a couple of strikes, and then they walk back to the ring. But they could go anywhere, and it's legal. Perfectly legal, Cole. Vic, Booker. Oh my God. Here we go again. Booker T. Listen, Brian Alvarez said, Booker T is an acquired taste. It's like, no. He's trying to compare this like to, let's say sushi or, bitters or stuff like that. No. Booker T is not an acquired taste. Booker T stinks. Booker T takes away from the show more than he gives, and he offers nothing in return. There's no return on having Booker T on commentary. I say this every time, but every time he's terrible, and he makes me cringe, and I lower the volume. I just can't stand him. It's not an acquired taste. He's bad. I think he is objectively the worst commentator, color commentator in all of pro wrestling today. Now that Alex Kozlov has apparently hung that up, I think the honors go easily to Booker T. I don't think there's anyone worse. He stinks. Anyway, Devil's Playground, right? So it's false count anywhere, and it can finish it. And it was like, what was this? It was like the third plunder match of the night on top of that too, where you could just, use just about anything, any tools, any nonsense. So what do we use here? Earlier in the night, we had the ladders, we had the tables. So what do we use here? You bring out the sack, the velvet sack. And you're like, holy shit, are they doing tacks? No, they're doing nuts and bolts again. Not even nuts and bolts. They're doing the nuts and washers. No bolts. I didn't see any bolts. They did this before. I don't remember what match they did it. And I was like, this is stupid. Like, it's dumb. Like, I buy the Legos more than landing on bolts and nuts and washers. And, nuts, screws, the fucking, not nuts, not these nuts, those nuts, them nuts, not these nuts, them nuts. I'm trying to amuse myself. Thank you for helping me along, chat. Cause look, they're doing that, and then they do, oh, wait a second. They do blood. They did blood in this match. That's right. They did blood. It's a brand new era for WWE. Because you see, at some point, Trick Williams gets shoved by Ethan Page into the unforgiving steel stairs. And he gets shoved in it abdomen first. So he lands, his tummy tum-tum comes in collision with the stairs. And he collides so hard, right? Because the stairs, they are unforgiving. Steel stairs, they're unforgiving. So what happens? He gets internal injuries. He starts coughing up blood. Oh, Warren, I thought you meant he ran the razor. I thought he bladed, he jibbed. Nope. Did I say jibbed? Jigged. Nope. None of that. He didn't do that. He just popped the blood capsule in his mouth. And went, and he had to, then he gets put through commentary because of course, and he's laying on the ground and he has to go, like he actually has to dribble the blood out of his mouth, right? It's so dumb. And I don't know why. Like, wouldn't you stop a match if a wrestler has internal injuries and is starting to cough up blood? Wouldn't you stop the match? I'd stop the match. It's so bad. And they did blood. Oh boy, they did blood. I thought there was one good spot in this match, legitimately, when they're in the ring and they had the steps in the ring, and Ethan Page powerbombs Trick like really awkwardly on it, but I guess It looked really good. Like I was like, that's a good spot. But that was just about it. And they trade some low blows. And Trick Williams, I don't know if it was a reflex, but he sort of squeezes his thighs when Ethan Page is coming in to kick him. So the kick doesn't even go up to the nether regions. It's just sort of, it's like he blocked it, but he still sells it. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? What am I watching? Why can't I be watching? Why couldn't I be watching Wrestle Dream again? Why couldn't I be watching, Revolution 2024? Why am I watching this? Why am I watching these people pretend to be wrestlers? This is so fucking annoying. Like, this was the most mid-off you ever midded. Anyway, so the first low blow doesn't work, but then Trick gives a low blow and then does the running knee and he wins. And where's Kensuke? Where's Kensuke Sasuke? Jesus Christ. Where's Sasuke when you need him? Where is he? While Chef Shawn Michaels is cooking. Now, here's something else. This is the second NXT main event where Trick Williams wins and he is overshadowed by something else. When he won his title back just a couple of weeks ago, everyone was all about CM Punk and CM Punk doing the GTS after the match, center of the ring, taking all the attention away. What happens here? Well, Trick gets beaten down by Ridge Holland, or as Kristen and I like to call him now, Richard Hollandaise. That's his full real name. That's his Christian name. Richard Hollandaise. Not Richard Hollandaise. So Ridge Hollandaise and runs in. He's clearly setting himself up for a shot, and I just want to kill myself at this point. I'm like, how can anyone be into this shit? How can anyone be into this shit? And then you have, so the heels beat down on Trick, and who comes for the save? Who comes for the big save? Is it Deshaun? What's his name? I can't remember his name. No, it's not. Is it Tony D? Apparently he's a babyface. Nope, no. Who else? Who else could come out for a big save here? Look, I don't know who the baby faces are in this company. It is none other than Bubba Ray Dudley, who runs in to fight off the baby faces, the heels. I mean, he runs in to fight off the heels, and he becomes the new top baby face to stand next to Trick Williams. And I'm like, oh my God, they are booking Bubba Ray Dudley and Trick Williams versus Ridge Hollandaise and Ethan Page at the ECW Arena show in 2 weeks, aren't they? That's what they're going to do, right? Oh my God. We will never escape this nonsense ECW nostalgia. We are never going to escape it. And these are all, and the thing is, what's most fascinating about it all is that these NXT fans these days have no idea what ECW is about. They don't understand a thing about it. It's like, for who is this for? Because any wrestling fans that may have cared, that may have been excited about this, have all been driven off because this stuff is nonsense. So all they have is their new fan base who doesn't give a shit about ECW. They don't understand. They don't know the history. They absolutely weren't around to watch it, but they don't understand what it's about. And they definitely don't understand how exhausting it is that we are once again going back to the ECW well. I saw one tweet saying, it was on Blue Sky, this one. I really hope that none other than Paul Lee Dangerously shows up. And I'm like, why? Who cares? Who could possibly care at this point? I mean, if you are someone who is legitimately like still an ECW head and you're like, yeah, we gotta, okay, I don't understand. I don't know who this is for. I really don't know who this is for. So that's what we're getting. And the match itself, look, I gave this match a 2 out of 5. I thought it was, yeah, like this was the third plunder match of the night to begin with. And I'm already sick of them. At this point, I'm already sick of them. And these two dudes, Trick and Paige, like I said, are in no positioning to be main eventing stuff. These are the most dry, ordinary, walk through the motions stuff. And Trick is not ready for this spot. And I've come to the defense as best as I can regarding Trick Williams because I think he's better. I think there's still something that you can squeeze out of this guy. But like they often do in NXT, they will put someone in a championship position who is not ready for the spot. And then we'll end up, that person will end up, being reviled, failing, falling on their face, whatever. Look at Braun. Look at Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker's a tremendous example. Braun Breaker was elevated way too fast, and he had, inarguably, I'd say, a very, very, very mid run as champion. They had to turn him heel, and they finally had to get him out of developmental for him to be anything close to interesting. They let him play the role of mid-carder, getting his, finding his footing. And now I think Braun Breaker has improved on the main roster as opposed to in NXT, which is the place where he should be improving. But instead he's stagnated. And it's the same with Trick. I think Trick is in a very, we know why they push Trick, because he's got the catchphrase and people like singing along to the catchphrases. And so does Booker T. And that's all you need really in WWE to make it. And he's got the charisma and he's got the crowd connection is what I'm saying. But aside from that, he's very green. And I'm sorry if you think he's a great wrestler. He's not. I don't think he's bad. Because he's got a lot of great naturals. I think he's got a good sense for pro wrestling, but he still needs work. That's all. He still needs work. And when I see main events like this, I'm like, he absolutely still needs work. Yeah, 2 out of 5 for me. This was another miserable NXT main event headlined for some reason, again, by Ethan Page. Have people figured it out that Ethan Page is just bog standard average? Have we figured it out yet, or are we still pretending that he's great, that he's this tremendous steal from AEW, that they dropped the ball? Are we still on that part of the discourse? Did you see they have Dawn Marie as a special guest ref for some women's stip match too? Yeah. It's Lola Vice and Jada Parker, right? They're having a hardcore match. Because it's the ECW arena, right? That's what we're doing here. So it's the ECW arena. We're bringing back Dawn Marie for some reason. All of this is just like this terrible stuff. Like, who could possibly care? I like Jada Parker. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I like Jada Parker. Okay, I like Jada Parker. I think there's something there. If they, she can be. I think she has the potential to be a really good brawler if they let her do that, instead of, trying to squeeze her into the mold that all WWE women are in, I think she has tremendous potential on that front. We'll see. She's still green as grass too, don't get me wrong. Should we go back to the top of the card then? What is he learning working Ethan Page? Yeah, exactly. How to not offend anyone ever or get them excited. Let's go to the top of the card. NXT North American title tables, ladders, and scares match. I was scared at how long this match went. Tony D'Angelo defeated Oba Femi. You have to think that this is Oba Femi. Well, at first, hang on. No, there's not. Look, the match itself, there's not much to say. Okay, starts off brawling, and I'm like, let's go. But like super early on, they go through the barricade, take a shot, and then it becomes your typical WWE plunder match. It's just the same thing. And then there's a crowbar, right, in this. And here's something that when I was watching it, okay, they do they do the spot where Femi, who's apparently a heel now, and Tony D'Angelo, like the mafia boss, is a babyface. I don't expect to understand it. None of this matters. But they're doing the crowbar spot where Femi's got the crowbar up against, like in a crossface type situation, and he's pulling back on Tony D'Angelo's face, right? But the crowbar is like across the face here, and it's fine, but you're like, you know what? If they really wanted to be violent, if this is the blood feud that you're letting me on to believe, right? Why doesn't he just take the crowbar and stick it in his mouth and fish hook him? And then then you get a crazy ass visual. It looks brutal, but no, WWE can't do shit that cool, right? Because it's like, no. And especially with a fucking rubber crowbar, it's like, it's not even there's the crowbar. Oh, and the plastic foam ladders are back too, folks. So that's tremendous. There's zip ties, and Obafemi ties up Tony D'Angelo, and then the mafia group runs out, and they, and then it's just nonsense interference till the end, and then the mafia girl then gets stalked by Obafemi with the crowbar, and it's supposed to be spooky, I guess. And you're like, oh, Obafemi, don't do it, no. He threatens, and all throughout this whole sequence where he's stalking the girl, this crowd was like completely dead for it. They were like in complete murmur mode. It's just murmurs. The crowd murmur. And they're not cheering, they're not doing anything, they're just like, instead of going, oh no, don't do it. Obafemi, don't hurt the girl. Like no one cared for this. I thought it was a very bad crowd, to be honest. I thought the crowd the entire night was in murmur mode. I don't blame them, don't get me wrong, but this was not a super hype NXT crowd excited to see, their favorites, to see their Andre Chases and their Jasmine Ninks. Anyway, look, ultimately, the mafia people, the killers, because they've actually performed murders, right, on NXT. They get the upper hand over Obafemi, and they help Tony D'Angelo retain. Now, I think Tony D'Angelo is a mid pro wrestler, and once again, I've seen it. Like he's extremely mid, and I still think Obafemi has tons of potential, and he's going to be a star on the main roster. There's no two ways about it. He's going to be a star. Look, that's all there is to it. But I thought Obafemi was losing up on this one. I was like, oh, well, there you go. They're clearing the path for Obafemi, putting Tony D'Angelo in the rear view mirror, and now they're going to focus on, they're probably going to send him after Trick, which is what I thought, because Obafemi is pretty fucking over. Am I right? He's more over than a lot of guys on this roster. So there you go. But no, we're going to go with Ridge Holland for some reason. Richard Hollandaise for some reason anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because it's NXT. 2 3/4 stars for me. I thought the work was okay, but there was just no spark to this, and I completely hated the finish. Really hated the finish. Julia and Stephanie Vicaire defeated Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez. The Crown Murmur was alive and well in this one here as well. I'm look. Hang on, well, one thing at a time. I want to go down too many paths at once, and that's now how language works, Warren. The story for this match was the baby faces are outclassing the heels, right? Like this was legitimately the story that we're saying. These international superstars that we brought in are completely destroying these two regulars that have been in our program for so long. We put them together in a tag match and they're in a tag team and they're invincible. They're just destroying these two little girls, basically, until they have to cheat to get until they cheat, and then they get their, then they get their control segment and whatnot. And they had a good little double team segments as well, Vaquer and Julius. But you can tell there's no real chemistry. These are two women with significant egos, folks. I'm not sure they're all that excited about working with each other. I'm pretty sure that both of them are like, they look at each other and they see their spot. They see, oh, this is the person that I have to crush to make to get a spot here. Like they're absolutely competition to one another. Absolutely. It's not a kayfabe thing. It's a legit thing. But I didn't think this was great. I didn't think this was very good, actually. Well, no, I thought it was good, but I didn't think it was great. And I'm looking at the ratings on Cage Match. This is an 8. They have this at 8. Now, I understand that it's probably skewed because Julia has her fans and Vaquer has her fans, and people were very excited at the prospect of this dream team coming together. I'm like, oh, come on, pump the brakes. But, I just shrugged and I looked at this and I was like, I don't care. Like, nothing of this is happening. I gave this 3 stars. I think the good effort, good little match, but man, Cora Jade she's not very good. And Roxanne Perez is whatever she is. I appreciated, the Julia delivering that fucking knee strike. I'm still waiting for her to start pulling out the shoot headbutts. I can't wait to see that. Finishes with an avalanche tiger suplex by Julia and the Phoenix Splash by Stephanie Vaquer, who pins Roxanne Perez. So that's your program. That's your upcoming program. And Roxanne Perez is going to beat her. You see how this goes? You see how nuts this is? You see how this is an alternate reality? It's just an alternate reality. It's a 3-star match, and I think I'm being cool about it because I think, I don't know. I think, you want it to go lower, I wouldn't blame you. But 8, this is it. They're putting it as an 8 out of 10. Ridge Holland defeated Andre Chase in an ambulance match. This stunk. Like this is not good. This was a below average match. I thought it was boring. I think I like Andre Chase in tag team situations, but Harlem Bravado as a singles guy, I don't know. It doesn't work for me, brother. And they do the thing where they stuff at some point I'm like, they start brawling and they start brawling up to the early on. They start brawling up to the ambulance, and I'm sitting there and I'm going, okay, one guy's gonna get stuffed in just to show the drama, just to make sure everyone understands how it works, and they do it, and I'm like, it's wrestling for babies. You know what I mean? Like there's just nothing. There's nothing to this. There's no teeth to this. This just the lamest spots where they're running after each other with the gurney, and Andre Chase jumps off the gurney. He sort of skips off the apron and then runs down the gurney and launches himself off, and the gurney's already like this. And I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? There's nothing here. Like, this completely devoid of interest. Ridge Holland is the definition of meathead. You know why he's the definition of meathead? Because on top of this dull ass match, like I don't know why they're pushing the guy. I don't know what they see in him. 38 years old. Like, this is a guy. What you see is what you get. He's not improving. And he's not a great mic worker. I don't know why he's getting pushed. I don't know why they're keeping him around. Like, I don't understand anything here. But they have him win because they do the big segment, right? Later on in the evening, he has to win because he's coming after Trick. But here's the thing. After, like, I don't know if it's after this match. I don't remember, and it doesn't matter. But he confronts Bully Ray, Bubba Ray Dudley. Because we can say Bubba Ray Dudley in WWE. And he does the thing where he goes and he confronts Bubba Ray, and he's got a microphone in his hand, and he lifts it to his mouth, then he starts talking, but then at some point, he lowers his arms, and he cuts his entire promo with the microphone, dangling next to his waist. I'm like, it's a meathead. This is a meathead. This is exactly what a meathead is. Couldn't hear a thing. Doesn't matter. It's Ridge Holland, but it was really fucking funny. And then we had the NXT Women's North American title match, the gauntlet match, where Fallon Henley defeated Kelani Jordan to become the champion. Kelani Jordan had to fight off all of Fatal Instinct, Fatal Attraction, that's not it. Fatal Inspiration. What are they called? Fatal Influence. The Fatal Influencers. Jasmine Nix stinks. JC Jane is still, she's not bad. She's pretty good. And Fallon Henley just, I don't know. She just comes across as so average to me. I don't understand. And they, the stip was that the Fatal Influencers did the spin the wheel, make the deal gimmick on the last NXT show, and then they decided they did the spin the wheel, make the deal thing, and they got to choose what the stipulation for the match would be, but they were only going to announce it on the night of because naughty. And then we get to the show and they say it's a gauntlet match. So Jordan obviously lost, she's exhausted by the time Fallon Henley gets there. But then again, it's only like 14 minutes. It's not like a real gauntlet match. It's like 14. But then again, Jasmine Nix, you put her away like in 3 minutes, right? And that's what she did. 3 minutes, 32 seconds. And Jasmine Nix was put away. Like, I don't know. There's interference at the end too. I thought it was kind of sleepy, and I know they see a lot. I know they see a lot of good in Kelani Jordan. I think they like her a lot. They have her do the powder on the hands coming in because, she's a gymnast and gymnasts do that. I understand. So they like the kid. I still think that she has to, her storytelling is not there. Like, she just does shit in the ring and nothing really connects. Nothing really, there's nothing being weaved. No stories being told. She'll get there, I'm sure, but we're not there yet with her either. But Fallon Henley either. I don't know. I don't see much out of these people. I gave 2 out of 5 stars for Andre Chase and Ridge Holland, and I'm giving this 2.5. And for the spin the wheel thing, here's something. Spin the wheel, make the deal, and the wheel, which is a gimmick, right? Which is the thing. They did the wheel thing, which is the staple of Halloween Havoc, right? And they didn't even spin it once on the show for any of the matches. The only time they spun it is when, what's her name? Spooky Girl number 2. Tatum Paxley. When she came out and she was like, I'm a goblin, or whatever the fuck she is. And then she spins the wheel. But for her match, that's happening on NXT this week. I'm like, what's the point of the spin the wheel thing when that's the actual gimmick. You spin it the night of the show. Well, it's just there. Spin the wheel, make the deal. Jake Roberts is spinning in his grave. Wait a minute. Oh, and Delta shows up. What do they call her? Zania, Zaria, Zariu, Zaria, Zaria, Zendaya. Whatever they're calling her now. Delta. You know, and she looks like the Kiss Demon. I thought the Kiss Demon was in NXT with pink hair. But it's Delta. But they're calling her something else now. Zanea, Zadria, Zendaya, Zariah. I mean, it was really funny because she showed up at the end of the tag team match with Julia and Vicaire, right? And they do her graphics, you know, and her little video entrance and all of that. And then she's like standing in the crowd. And then when she shows up after Fallon Henley wins the title, it's the exact same graphics and everything. And I'm like, didn't we just see this? Like, we legitimately just saw this. Like, it not on the Titantron or whatever they call it. Not on the Tron, like on screen. I'm like, we just saw this. What's happening? Halloween Havoc. NXT Halloween Havoc. It's not a good show, but it's not even an NXT show that I get mad at. I'm just like completely and utterly bored and unimpressed with this promotion, this brand. There's just nothing happening here. There's just nothing that happens. And, you know, all the cool stuff that I thought happened, like no Nathan Frazier or Axiom. A-Kid, what is Axiom? None of that happening. Yeah, those were highlights of my previous NXTs, where NXT PLEs, where I'd be like, at least these guys had a great match with, you know, Andre Chase and the other guy. I can never remember his name. The other guy in Chase U. I'm sure Duke Hudson. Like, that was pretty cool. That ruled. You know, here nothing. There's nothing. You know, even their main event is bland as hell, and they're setting up stuff that's going to be bland as hell. Like, who wants to see Bubba Ray Dudley and Ethan Page in 2024 mixing it up? Like, it is not for me. It's like this show. NXT is not for me, and thank God I don't have to watch this on a weekly basis, or that someone is paying me, insisting that I watch it on a weekly basis, because I think I would lose my mind. You know, they did angles with Lexis King, who seems to be setting up for a babyface turn. Oh, this big successful heel entrance, right? Boy, you know, the drawn beard and all this shit. That sure worked out well. Now he seems to be like this, you know, he's questioning himself, and then William Regal trots in, and, you know, and here's the funny thing. It's like Lexis King, his entire thing is like, you know, I'm abandoning my, you know, I'm not my father. I don't want to be like my father. I'm not my father, blah, 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 blah. And then that's his whole gimmick. That's why he's not calling himself Pillman Jr., right? And then William Regal comes in, and the first thing he says is, I knew your father and I loved him very much. You know, I'm like, oh my God. Anyway, don't watch the show. Don't watch the show. Don't watch NXT Halloween Havoc 2024. Stay away. Find anything else to watch. You know, fire up YouTube. Watch some skibbity toilet shit. You'll be more entertained with Skibbity Toilet than you will be whatever this was.